Hi race fans, I'm Elliot Camies and this is your NASCAR Cup Dates Friday preview show. The show where myself and my co-host Dan will talk about the upcoming race, make our picks for the weekend, as well as talk about things that happened the week before. Firstly though, I do have to get Dan in here, so Dan, how you been? How was your weekend and how was your July 4th?
Hey Elliot, man, thank you for having me on the show again. Always a pleasure, like I always say. This week was the 4th of July, like you mentioned, and this was everything I hoped it would be. Didn't get to watch the race live, unfortunately. I was hanging out with some family watching the Mid-Ohio IndyCar race, and that was a whole nother animal, man. Beautiful day out there. Couldn't ask for anything more. You just gotta gush for a second. When you go to a race and you get that perfect weather of just lightly cloudy sky with like 80 degrees, light breeze coming in from the one side, you get that weird smell. Smell of just sunscreen mixed with high-octane fuel and burnt rubber. There is nowhere else in the world that you can get this smell other than the racetrack. So my 4th of July was spent doing the exact thing I love, being out there in the sun enjoying a race. So thank you for asking.
Okay, so I suppose we'll start with the big story coming out of this weekend, and it's Tyler Reddick getting his first win, the 13th driver to do so in 18 races. The first time it's happened in NASCAR Cup Series history. There's also a huge possibility that we could have more than 16 winners going into the playoffs. We have currently 13. There are only 8 races left to go in the regular season. And there are more than 3 people that are more than capable of winning. So what do you think of Tyler Reddick's performance? And what do you think of the possibility that we could have more than 16 drivers going into the playoffs?
Ooh, Tyler Reddick's performance this weekend was nothing short of a masterclass. When you race at a track like Road America, that is a purely skill-based track. On a lot of these road courses, they force you to just think outside of the box. And a lot of the times, it's the most skilled driver that actually comes out on top. The equipment doesn't always matter as much, and you see a level of talent break through you can't find anywhere else. Tyler Reddick put on a show, man. We have been wanting him to come on top for a long while, and he did not disappoint. But to your other point here, yeah, it's starting to look like we might be seeing more than 16 drivers actually making it to that final stage of who's it going to be in the chase. It's never come down to this before. We've never once had a situation where it may actually be forced down to points. Winning doesn't mean you're locked in right now. This is scary for a lot of people. You got a lot of guys on the outside just thinking to themselves, hey, maybe I might be able to make this in and push somebody else who won on their way out. That would be one hell of a story. What do you make of this? How'd you feel about Tyler Reddick's performance this weekend? And how do you feel about that possibility?
I mean, it's highly possible we could have more than 16 winners this season. And only 5 guys have gone on to repeat. That's Chase Elliott, Ross Chastain, William Byron, Denny Hamlin, and Joey Logano. 3 of them very young. Well, I say Ross is younger drivers, the up and coming generation. And like I said, we are only 8 races away from Daytona. Very well could have more than 16 winners. I mean, Ryan Blaney, I have to believe he'll get a win. Martin Truex Jr., it's a matter of time. Christopher Bell is creating his own hurdles, but multiple people winning from outside the cut hasn't helped him at all this season. And then we've got names like Kevin Harvick, Aric Almirola, you have Bubba Wallace, who we have Atlanta coming up, is an established speedway racer. Michael McDowell on road courses is very talented, a very rhythmic racer. AJ Allman, he's not fighting for, the Cup Championship. He has the ability on road courses to be able to go up there and win. We saw it last year when he won with Corlick in the Indy road course. So, I don't think Daniel Suarez is safe at the moment. Denny Hamlin, yes, he's 20th in points, but he has 2 wins. He's locked in. If you have 1 win and you're below 16th in points, you're not safe. You are not safe. And I can't stress that enough. But as for Reddick winning his first race, I thought it was an incredible display. I thought he really gained up a lot of ground in pit road. When Chase Elliott came in, he came in right behind him, left even closer to him, an incredible stop by that crew. And the final long run, those final 15, 16 laps that they had to run, very professionally done, forced Chase Elliott into a mistake. And speaking of, Chase Elliott made his first mistake on a road course when being pressured by Tyler Reddick. Do you think that mistake was just down to him finally having someone to race? He'd been perfect for the first two stages, drove away, only lost the stages due to pit strategy, going for the win. So, yeah, what's your thought on that?
That's an excellent point about Chase Elliott not being used to having pressure behind him. I don't think it really affects him as much. He is a lot more of a veteran presence in this sport than people really give him credit for. He's been doing this since 2015 when he ran a 6-race schedule in the 25 car, got bumped up to Jeff Gordon's 24, and now he's been in the 9 for a considerable amount of time. He's been racing for the better part of a decade. I honestly believe, though, that I don't think Tyler Reddick got into his head or really forced much of an error. But when you're racing at a road course like Road America and your attention is now being forced to be split up between the road in front of you and what's in your mirror, sure, it'll definitely add a different dynamic. I don't think Reddick forced an intimidator-style error on the car in front of him, but that dynamic does affect it. But what do you think? Do you think the added pressure got to Chase at all in this situation?
Yeah, I think it's really just as I'm doing. He drove away in the first two stages, and then the second someone came to him, I'm not going to say he couldn't handle it. We've seen Chase be pressured before. Like you said, there are races where Chase has been pressured. But it's unnatural to see that from him at a road course. He had driven away in stage 1 and stage 2, losing them only to pit strategy, going for the win of the race. He has the points, he doesn't need them. He's leading the standings by about 30 points. So why not go for the win? Why not make yourself the only 3-time winner, I mean, going into turn 5 is a heavy braking zone as it is. Maybe it's because he was focused on keeping Reddick behind him. He wanted a bit of later braking, put a bit of space between himself and Reddick. But I personally think Reddick just got the better of him. I don't think it was down to Chase specifically, but he owned it. He made a mistake, and that's all you can really say about it, So saying that Chase Elliott has made the mistake, we haven't seen him win on a road course this year. So is this the end of Chase Elliott's road course dominance?
Gotta be honest with you, Elliott, I like this question a lot more than I should. Have we seen the end of Chase Elliott's road course dominance? A lot of folks aren't going to like this, but I think we have. And it's not because of what happened here at Road America. It's because of what's happening this whole season, this brand new car. It's leveling the playing field for a lot of drivers, and you're seeing folks up front you don't see much often in the past. Michael McDowell's and Chris Buescher's, to give you a good example. And I really would have thought to see them as road racers, but when the field's that level now, here they are. Chase has got a lot more cars in his mirror. Honestly, he's going to keep winning at road courses. He is too good not to. But is it going to be as dominant as it was? Because that's your question. Is it the dominance? No, I don't believe it is. I believe the era of Chase Elliott's dominance at road courses is now gone. Posed back to you, how do you feel about that? Do you think we're going to be seeing him rebounding after figuring this out and just come out with a full head of steam? Or is it over at road courses for the 9 car?
Yeah, it is. It's the new car, like you said. The new car's what's doing it. It's opened up the road racing capabilities for the entire Cup Series. It's made it very hard to set up to a point where you have a serious competitive advantage. A lot of it is made externally. Minimal parts are made in-house. So, yeah, his road course dominance, it's over for now. I'm not going to say it's over for good. He's got a long career left. He will, in my opinion, have a very good chance at taking the top spot from Jeff Gordon. And again, like you said, it is down to the car. I think there's been moments with first wins this year on road courses. You know, all 3 road courses we won have had a first-time winner. Ross Chastain in Circuit of the Americas, Daniel Suarez in Sonoma, Tyler Reddick last week at Road America. Indy Road Course, who gets their first win next? Then we've got Watkins Glen. Kimi Raikkonen's racing for Project 91. Trackhouse is an established team. Have had immense speed at road courses. He very well could be in contention. So, yeah, I think for now, with this new car, until they find a competitive advantage, yeah, his road course dominance is over. Now, I've just mentioned it, that there are a lot of road courses on the schedule. Being a fan from the 90s and early 2000s, where there were just 2 road courses, Watkins Glen and Sonoma, do you believe there are too many on the circuit at the moment? And could they be swapped for, say, a North Wilkesboro, which is rumoured to be returning in 23 and 24? Maybe we go somewhere else. So, you know, what's your opinion on the possibility that we could replace tracks, and which one maybe would you like to see?
Of course, you got to show my age on that one, don't you? I'm a big fan of NASCAR in the 90s, back when I was a kid. That's where I got my start. And to this day, my father will actively watch NASCAR replays with me from the 90s and make like it's our first time watching them. Absolute blast, man. But yeah, that's an era back where there was only 2 road courses. You didn't really see much more action going on than that, and it kind of just felt like a obligation to get out of the way. But honestly, what I think kind of changed that was the 2012 race at Watkins Glen. When you had Brad Keselowski and Marcus Ambrose going door to door, that ignited an entire road course generation watching that otherworldly battle. And to top it all off with the way this brand new car is set up, this is a lot more like a GT car from the IMSA series we're seeing nowadays. I think road courses are here to stay. I think we're going to be getting more of them in the future. But there's a couple we could lose. Road America right now isn't as great as we would like it to be, and I'm still not sold on the Indy Roval in NASCAR. I'm not sold on Indianapolis in NASCAR, honestly. But yeah, I think that if they start making a push for North Wilkesboro, I think it's going to be in 2024. I think SRX needs to go out there next year and ignite a whole new flame. You lose one of those 2 road courses. Maybe you lose both of them. Bring in the Chicago Speedway we're talking, not Chicago Land, but the Chicago Street Course we're talking about. Lose those 2, bring in the Chicago Street Course, and give us North Wilkesboro back. I am completely in favor of that, and thank you so much for asking. But now it's back on to you. How do you feel about that as more of a modern fan? I know you're definitely a patron of the history of NASCAR, but how do you feel about this from your perspective on it?
100%. I would love to see North Wilkesboro on this schedule, because we do have too many road courses. I liked 3. I'm okay with 4, I'll be honest. We have 6 this year. I'm okay with 4 road courses. Sonoma, Watkins Glen, Circuit of the Americas, and 1 other. The 2 I would personally get rid of, well, the one I'd definitely get rid of, is the Indianapolis road course. I didn't like it last year. This year we have an opportunity with the new car to go there and see how it will perform. If it doesn't work out, then I don't see a reason for us to go back to Indianapolis. I really don't believe it's all that of a racetrack. For NASCAR anyway. For other series, it's fantastic and it's amazing to watch. But it feels like we're going there because it's prestigious. You know, we take into account the 1,000 hours at Bathurst. That's prestigious. NASCAR don't go and run Mount Panorama. You know, I understand it's in a different country, but the idea is still there. They went to different countries before. You know, we go to somewhere like, say, Silverstone over here in England. It's a prestigious racetrack, but NASCAR won't race on it. You know, there are... It feels like Indianapolis has run its course. As great as racing was there years past, I personally don't see much of a reason to go back. Road America is just a boring race for me. I think the laps are too long. The circuit's too long, sorry. Caution laps are just unbearably long. And it's just too thin of a racetrack to really do much. I enjoyed the end of the race last weekend. That's it. You know, personally, I'd definitely get Indianapolis taken out, and I would love to see North Wilkesboro, perhaps even go to more short tracks. I love the idea of going to short tracks. You know, we got what the SRX series are doing. We go to Boston, South Boston. We go to Six Flags. What if we go to Stafford? You know, there's options there that I feel like aren't being explored. Personally, I'd love to see new racetracks. I'd love to see less repeat some places and potentially move it to, we go to one racetrack a year. But in the meantime, whilst we are on the subject of road courses, what do you think could be done to improve the standards this year or next season and those going forward?
So that's a complicated question, honestly. There's a lot of different tracks out there with a lot of different factors. Some of them don't play out so well, some of them do. So you got to ask yourself, what can you do less to the track and more to the cars? And the easiest place is the tires. Look, back in 2017, they had a great idea that went nowhere. They said the All-Star race, look, we're going to introduce a soft compound tire that every team gets one set of, and it was projected to create a lap time difference of 0.4 of a second to 0.6 of a second. And that was completely ludicrous. It never happened. They ran it, and the race ended up being an absolute dud. Not because of it, but they picked the wrong track to do it. You can't run a soft compound tire at Charlotte. It's just not going to work. But you bring that to a road course dynamic, maybe even a hard compound tire that can last a little bit longer. And you make yourself think, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want to rock on my traditional tires, maybe have a set of Goodyear Reds that'll last a far bit longer so you can just try to stretch it out a little bit more? Or a soft compound tire, you say, okay, we had a late race caution, let's bring him in and throw some greens on there and see if he can storm up front with that extra speed. I think NASCAR needs to revisit this idea. I think they need to try to add another road course to maybe a pre-season style event and just give it a test. Let's see what it can do. I think that this quality of racing will be so far improved with varying styles of tires. But back on to you, Elliot. What's your take on this? How do you think NASCAR can improve road course racing overall?
Well, personally, I believe that we could take away stage breaks. Now, they are extraordinarily longer at road courses. Yeah, at Road America, what was it like? If we get a caution with 2 to go, that needs to be a yellow. Potentially, we're looking at half an hour of stage break. What could you do in half an hour? You know, if you're a fan at the track, you want to see racing throughout. I believe if we take away stage breaks, we open the race up to strategy, we keep fans entertained throughout. We don't have to take any of those breaks. I mean, last week we didn't have any natural cautions. You know, everyone was very in control, well behaved around traffic, and if they had a problem, they took it off the track. You know, they took it behind a wall where it was safe. Personally, stage breaks at road courses, they just drag it out. They really do just drag it out. We can still award stage points, don't get me wrong. Say, you know, at lap 20 at Watkins Glen, we're going to award stage points for the guy that crosses the line first, 9 for second, same as you would do for a stage, but keep the race green. Yeah, at lap 40, we're going to do the same. 10 for first, 9 for second, so on and so forth. It just feels like that would improve the state of road coursing so much more. And I'm very happy to experiment with that. NASCAR might be hesitant, but I'm ready to see some sort of change in the structure of road courses. Okay, well, it is that time where myself and Dan will make our picks. Remember that William Byron won the race earlier this season at Atlanta, the first of his 2022 campaign. Corey LaJoie also stole his first top 5 finish of his career at Atlanta, further solidifying itself as a super speedway race. So Dan, have at it. With that information in mind, who is your pick?
Oh yeah, how can you take William Byron out of this equation? He was the first person to figure this new track out and get the win here. But now a few more guys understand exactly what they're doing here. This track runs a little bit closer to a Daytona than it does to a track closer in appearance like Charlotte. But yeah, my honest pick this weekend is going to be Ryan Blaney. I think the 12 car has what it takes to get it done this week and actually get his first real win this year. Sure, he won the All-Star race, but that doesn't count. That's an All-Star race, and every team's running their B-list equipment. His teammates got it done this year. Austin Cindric won at Daytona. Joey Logano has a win at Darlington. Ryan Blaney is still trying to get that W this year, and I know it's hurting him here. At a track like Atlanta, where you get to go a little bit more full out than you do at most other tracks on the list, I think Ryan Blaney is going to be your man to watch this weekend.
Well, with the word wildcard floating around my head, knowing how important it is to win now, how much opportunity this car opens, I believe with the speed 2311 has had, one of their drivers has already won. I believe the other will too, and I think it'll be Bubba Wallace this weekend. Atlanta has been a very new track this year, changing the banking to 28 degrees, making it a flat-out, high-speed, 1.5 mile oval, becoming a super speedway race with the double yellow line enforced. Bubba has been a established contender at super speedway races. Talladega last fall, he won. He has been second in the Daytona night race at the end of last year's regular season. One spot off of transferring. He is very talented at these races. Haven't always gone his way. Last time we went to Talladega, he and Kurt Busch both wrecked on the final lap. Last time we went to Atlanta, he was there until the final lap. When some contact, I think the car stepped out of line. He ended up getting shuffled. Again, Ryan Blaney, your pick, again, fell back. I believe he is very much a contender for this week, potentially for the win. It wouldn't surprise me if he won a race. Now we have Martin Truex Jr. on the cut line. So I believe, look out for him. He will be this week's winner. Well, unfortunately, that is all we have time for this week. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, follow the Instagram and TikTok accounts. The video will be up on YouTube. I will be posting more on Instagram. We'll try to get into TikTok. I do have to say thank you, Dan, for joining me, and for myself, it has been a pleasure. Goodbye.
And it always is sad to go. I really love talking auto racing with you, man. Always a pleasure every time. But anybody out there, you got your own takes or opinions on this, you think that somebody else is going to win, please let us know in the comments. I would love to hear what you got to say. Let me know how wrong I am, how right he is, or anything else you got. I'm curious and I want to know. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my handle there is @CupDatesDan. I'm much more active on the weekends during a race day when I'm not at Mid-Ohio watching an IndyCar race. But always a pleasure to be here, Elliot. Thank you so much for having me. And everyone, y'all have a great weekend and enjoy your race about as much as I will.